Question for you. Will I pick that up at the end of this lecture? No? Should we make bets? I'm too tempted by the desire to start the class on time, so I'm going to put that off until later when, of course, I won't be tempted. The larger question is, will I remember? I'll do it again. Come and harass me at the end. I really don't want to take the time to pick that up right now. Okay, midterm 2 is in 2 weeks. I only say that because I myself have such a short future time perspective, as you know, and if you do too, I'm going to help you try to get on track. Pay attention if you have big questions, if you're falling behind, come to office hours, get caught up. Some of your classmates are doing that already. It's the normative thing to do. All right, everybody take a deep breath. Ready? All together, one big deep breath. Hold it. Okay, now keep it that way. Stop talking. I got a couple things I want to do before we get started. One of them is this. I did something a little bit stupid in the last class. We were talking about when would an individual presented with a commitment contract for going to the gym choose to pay more than the predicted face value? Now, I got a little bit confused in talking about what the predicted face value really is. What I mean by predicted face value, and it makes more sense when you're looking at the actual experiment we did, there were 7 days. You could have gone to the gym a total of 7 times. The predicted face value is how many times do you think you'll go multiplied by the face value. So if your prediction, based on your beta hat beliefs about your future time preferences, is that you'll go 4 times, and the dollar value of the coupon is $5 per visit, and the predicted face value is 20. What I did was I got kind of confused in going from the 7 times a week to the just very limited simple model of just modeling the one-time decision of whether or not to go. Basically, I can't actually write down a mathematical expression for that predicted value. Basically, it goes like this. That, if you predict that you'll go, then the predicted value is P, and if you predict that you won't go, then the predicted value is 0. And it's as simple as that, right? Because you only get to decide one time, and there's not a mathematical expression for how many times you think you'll go. If you go to PSpace and look at the Ackland-Levy paper, you'll see that the mathematical expression for how many times you predict you'll go in a week with a P coupon is really complicated. And one of the things that is unfortunate in math, in writing about mathematical things, is that if you show people this, they say, okay, I think I'm going to keep reading. But if you show them this, they say, nah, I'm going to skip this section. So our paper is full of those, but you should go and puzzle over it because it's actually kind of nice. Okay, that's the first thing I wanted to do. So what I had said in lecture was that the predicted face value was beta hat times P. I honestly, I don't even want to try to explain where I got that from because I don't know. It was just, I had smoke coming out of my ears and I wasn't thinking. Okay, next thing I want to tell you is this. I had a lot of people come to my office hours saying, I don't understand this thing about beta hat and beliefs and why the sophisticate, you have to go to the end and work backwards. So I just wanted to relate something. I said this to a few people in my office hours earlier. Matt Rabin, right, sort of the grandmaster of behavioral economics and the guy who actually originally wrote down the beta delta beta hat, what I call the beta hat model, said to me once, I was in his office hours as a grad student, and I'd written down a beta delta model for the online game thing that you guys did, actually the model that I gave you in the problem set, except it was a little bit more complicated. And I said, here's the result for the naive. It makes perfect sense to me. I'm having a hard time with the sophisticate. And he said, well, that's probably because the sophisticate is hard. And so what I took away from that was, well, if Matt Rabin thinks it's hard, it's probably hard. So take comfort, and you have to understand it. So keep hammering away. If Matt Rabin can understand it, there's a good chance that you can. If I can understand it, then for sure you can understand it. So if you don't yet understand the difference between big U1 and big U2 and big U hat 1, 2, right? This is your utility from the perspective of period 1, from the perspective of period 2, and this is your period 1 prediction of your period 2 utility function. So start by convincing yourself you understand the difference between these things and the notation for them. Then convince yourself that you understand this. In period 1, I make my decisions on the basis of this utility function. In period 2, I make my decisions on the basis of this utility function. In period 1, I predict that in period 2, I will make decisions on the basis of this utility function. Okay? So that's recorded somewhere on YouTube 8 days from now. Go and convince yourself that you understand what all of that means, and you'll be in a good position. Okay, here's the next thing I want to do. This is mostly for fun, but it's not only for fun. Let's just see. Okay, you don't need to see my Google Drive. All right. So, anybody been to this website before? So this is stick.com, and it was developed by a guy named Dean Carlin, who we will meet about halfway through today's lecture. And it's apparently it's the smartest way to set and achieve your goals. Now, one of the irksome things about behavioral economists is that we're all economists, which means that we're all completely high on ourselves. So of course it's the smartest way because it's some economist's way, and economists are always the smartest people that they themselves have ever met. But here's what this thing is, right? You're going to commit to some goal that's you can see that all of these are subject to present bias: lose weight, exercise, quit smoking, race, maintain weight, or you can customize your goal. So this is all stuff where present bias preferences are going to make it hard to achieve these goals. Who would come to a site like this? So Saul says naives, everyone else says sophisticates. Does that mean you're wrong or you have a better idea? Let me explain how it works, and I think you'll take it back, because you may be thinking something different, right? So here's the way. Here's the deal. You go to how it works. And here's what it is. What is Stick? It's designed to promote a healthier lifestyle by allowing you to create commitment contracts. Okay, so Dean Carlin is one of the people who has studied commitment contracts. Oh dear, this is not, where's the forward button? Where's the button? Come on, Dean. Here it is. Okay, so of course it's made by Yale economists, so why wouldn't it be? And your goal can be anything you want. I think I want to go to slide 6 of this little slideshow. Yeah. The next step is entirely optional. Of course it is. That's the point of a commitment device. It's optional. You choose it. You choose your stakes. How much money you're willing to risk and where you want it to go should you fail. Now that's an interesting feature I'll point out. Sticking with the 20 pounds in 20 weeks example, let's say you put $10 at stake per week. We take your credit card information up front, but do not charge it. Each week that you fail to lose the required 1 pound, we charge your card $10. After your contract is over, we send what you lost to your designated recipient. Now, if Dean Carlin was, a private entrepreneur, your designated recipient would be Dean Carlin, and you could probably make a ton of money off of this. But basically what he's doing is, it's kind of like putting negative signs in front of what we did with the commitment contract, right? You give him a chunk of money, you sort of commit to letting him take away a chunk of money. So that initial commitment is basically, it's really Dean's, right? It's really Dean Carlin's, because he can keep it all if you blow it. And then he's going to give it back to you, right? In this case, at the rate of $10 a week. But the way you're going to feel that is you're going to feel it as a loss. How clever is that? right? But what he's really doing is he's saying, if you go, I'm going to not charge you $10. So relative to the baseline of where you were before, which is not going to the gym regularly, this feels like you've given up, in this case, $200 by saying, look, I'm going to give you a charge that'll let you take as much as $200 out of my account. You're then going to get back $10 of that every time you do go to the gym, because you're going to forego a penalty of $10. But by setting it up as a penalty, right? Dean Carlin is not a dumb guy. He's taking advantage of loss aversion as well. Okay, so this is a commitment contract stood on its head that you feel is a punishment, and that's the deal. It's a real life commitment contract, and one of the things that is worth noticing on this website is here. Where does it? Come on now. Oh, it's just because I don't have right, because I've got to, no, this is a borrowed computer. The numbers, $19 million currently on the line by people who are trying to change their behavior. 266,000 commitments created. Anybody in this room? Anyone in this room? No, because you all have beta of 1. That's why you're here. 2,500,000 cigarettes not smoked. Hopefully that's not all just one person. Behavioral economics in the real world. Dean Carlin's a behavioral economist. He's done a bunch of stuff on commitment contracts, decided he thought that they were worth making available to the public, and he's done this. And your recipient, it's interesting. So you can set this up. He's really taking advantage of a lot of different things, right? So you designate where you want the money to go in the case that you don't make your goal, and there are two possibilities, right? One is that it gets sent to a charity that it goes to a charity you choose. And one option is that you can choose a charity you like, and the other is that you can choose a charity you don't like. Right? So now we have a sort of, we're getting into social preferences. If I don't go to the gym, and so the original example of this was these two sisters who were best buddies for something like 90 years, and at one point one of them had just like hammered the other one about smoking for decades, and finally she said, look, I'm going to quit. Here's how I'm going to do it. If you catch me smoking, I'm going to send $100 to the Ku Klux Klan. Right? Listen to the New York Times. You can look it up. And she never smoked again. So if she'd said I'm going to send it to the American Cancer Association, who knows whether she would have smoked again. Anyway, this is Dean Carlin taking advantage of a whole lot of behavioral economics to help people improve their health. Here's what we don't know. Right? These are wonderful gee whiz numbers. We know nothing about how many cigarettes would have been smoked in the absence of this. Right? Because this is not a randomized controlled trial. And we don't have any idea whether these are largely naive or sophisticated. It's probably somewhere in between. Some of these people may be losing money in ways that Dean Carlin should probably feel bad about, particularly if the money is going to KKK. I mean, in some sense, you want to say, really, you're going to actually let people sign up to lose money based on their naivete and have it sent to a bad something we shouldn't like. Okay, anyway, that is what it is. I think it's pretty cool. Go take a look at it. Tear holes in it. I think that there's reasons to criticize it. I think there are good things and bad things about it, both on theoretical grounds and in terms of how it's actually implemented. All right, so here's what we're doing today. This is our last lecture on beta-delta preferences per se. Applications, policy implications, normative implications. So I'm going to work through 3 case studies. The first one is related to the little clicker question that I asked you at the end, which I'll ask you again at the beginning. It has to do with work assignments and self-control. Then we'll look at consumption savings and borrowing choices, so retirement savings in particular. And then we'll look at food stamps, right, which is nutritional. It's a supplementary nutritional assistance program, and look at how self-control problems appear to show up even in something where you wouldn't necessarily expect it. And as we go along, we're going to try to answer 3 questions, or at least ask them. First, what is the cost of present bias preferences, right? If this is irrational, we have reason to suspect that perhaps it harms people. Right? Rationality means that you're optimizing your preferences, and if your preferences are actually based on what's good for you, on what really makes you best off, then rationality should always be good for you, and then we want to question whether irrationality can be bad for you. What could public policy do about it, and how would we know if it was a good thing or not? Meaning, how would we know if the public policy we come up with is a good thing? So that's going to bring us right back to, do we still have a usable and consistent normative measuring stick? So here we go. Same clicker question I asked you last time. Suppose I replace participation points in the syllabus with a series of weekly assignments that take 20 to 30 minutes. Doesn't matter how long they take. Yes, it does. It needs to be long enough that you don't want to do it. And then you can turn it into via B-space, which means that you can turn it in basically whenever you want. And the question is this. I can offer you 3 different options. One is there's really no due dates. Just get it in by the last day of the class, all of them. Another is that like every month I'm going to have a deadline, and the ones for that month have to be in by the end of each month. And the third one is, hey, Professor Ackland, let me set my own deadlines. I'll tell you the dates, then you lock them in and punish me if I don't meet them. Okay? Which of those things do you personally prefer? You don't have to think about it very hard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. All right, there you are. That's actually, I like that a lot. So there's about 13 of you who say, what the heck, I don't need your help. You see that this is all about what's going to help you get the assignments done, right? So about half of you would like me to impose the deadlines, and about 40% would set your own deadlines. People who said B, set the deadlines for me. Somebody who said B, tell me why. If I don't set them for you, you're going to set them for the last day of class. Now, remind me your name? Jack. Jack, suppose I would have set this up. Let me extend the setup a little bit. So it's the first day of class. And the people who do this, I'm not one of them, but it's the first day of class. I ask you this question. Let's say I make it each individual's choice. You say, please set the deadlines for me, because otherwise I'll set them at the end of the class and I'll screw things up. And then I say, Jack, here's the deal. As soon as you make your choice, you're going to set the deadlines yourself immediately. Would you still choose that? Would it make any difference? Don't you think that if you're sophisticated enough to know that you would blow this decision yourself, that you could just not blow the decision?
I don't think so.
Right, exactly. Okay, exactly. So this is what's called having a reptile brain, right? This is why it sucks that evolution is in fact how we got here, because we're evolved from creatures that really never had to worry about things like semesters. So I'd be in the same camp. Now, who said C and why? So you'll set them at the end, and you're not going to worry about. So Jack's concern is you'll set them at the end and do them all at the end. You're not worried about that.
I mean, a little bit, but
you got bigger fish to fry. Okay, so you've got self-control. So we know 2 things about Jack. We know that he doesn't have self-control, and we know that he knows he doesn't have self-control. We know one thing about you, which is that those 2 things simultaneously aren't true of you. But we don't know which one of them is false. They might both be false. It might be that you don't have self-control and that you're correct about that. It could be that you do have self-control, but you have incorrect beliefs about it. So we don't actually know enough about you to pin you down. We know Jack's type. Jack's a sophisticated beta discounter. We don't know if you're time consistent or not. We could give you the option and see how you fare. Let me move on. What was your name? Nick. Okay. So there's that. Now, of course, you're gonna see the experiment. This is Dan Ariely and a co-author named Bertrand Brock, who I don't know. A lot of times this will be, if it's someone you really know well and someone you don't know at all, a lot of times it'll be a grad student. So here we are doing a field experiment-ish, sort of, quasi-field experiment maybe. Here's the first one. 2 sections of an executive MBA class at MIT. These are mid-career professionals. These are people who had some time out in the world being given deadlines and either meeting them or not meeting them. 3 assignments required to complete the class. So these are assignments that actually count for real stakes, right? And as much as these people care about their grades at all. Grades and comments on all 3 were provided at the end of the semester, regardless of when they were turned in. And here's the setup. Section 1 had no choice about how the deadlines were set. They were set by the instructor, and they were evenly spaced through the semester. So that's Jack. Section 2 is free choice. The deadlines were set by the student whenever they chose. So the one about just no deadlines at all, please, it wasn't on the table in this experiment. It was either I set your deadlines for you, or you set them for yourself, and I will then enforce them. Okay, then you measure the student's performance. Here's the results. Okay, so what we're looking at here is this is section 2, the ones who set their own deadlines. This is a frequency distribution of when they set the deadlines. Okay, so this is, well, you can see it on your handout, you can see the numbers. But this is a 14-week semester, which makes evenly spaced a little hard to pin down. But I'm going to say evenly spaced. I'm just going to say evenly spaced is first one due on the 5th week and the second one due on the 10th week. So something like that is what they did in section 1. And what we have is that the black, right? This is a stack histogram. So the black parts of the stack at the bottom. These are instances of when this is the distribution of when people set the deadline for the first paper. The hashed ones are the second paper, and the clear ones are the third paper. Now, so here's Nick, right? That's you, and Jack, but for potentially different reasons. And then you see an interesting thing, right? Which is a whole bunch of other people set a deadline for the first paper before the first third, and a deadline for the second paper before the second third, and a deadline for the third paper before the end of the semester. So those people are sort of like, they're really front-loading their commitments. Maybe it's because they recognize that there are also exams in here, and who knows what they're doing. But this is sort of first-order evidence of a demand for commitment devices, because this was purely optional. And not only, so it was optional to set deadlines at all. It was optional to set that they already got a signal of, like, what the smart thing, what the instructor. Well, maybe they didn't get the signal, but I mean, there was an obvious thing to do, which is third, and they actually chose to push themselves even beyond that. So this seems like pretty clear, real-world, real stakes demand for commitment devices. Okay. Right, so this is Guido. We don't know how much they would have paid for it, but it is what it is. Performance section 2 had higher average scores than section 1. Now, of course, these aren't randomly selected groups, so it's possible that section 2 was going to have higher scores than section 1 anyway. We don't really know, but it's a sort of a pilot to see whether or not there even would be a demand. Then they follow up with the second experiment. Now they have 60 undergrads at MIT. These ones are not in a class. They were just solicited, like from XLab or whatever, and then they were randomly put into 3 groups. And they were given, instead of these 3 class assignments, they were given 3 proofreading tasks to do for money. Here's an example. You have to proofread like the following. Sexual identity is intrinsically impossible, says Foucault. However, according to de Selby, it's not so much sexual identity that's intrinsically impossible, but rather dialectic. And some would say the stasis of sexual identity. Thus, Derlet holds that we have to choose between pre-modern dialectic theory and subcultural feminism, tuning the role of the observer as poet. I want to believe that if that were correctly punctuated, it would make sense to me. But what I know at a minimum is that it's not correctly punctuated. And I just put it on the screen to make you guys feel better about the fact that you're in an economics department instead of something else. Okay, so the 3 tests like this, you get 10 cents, you get paid 10 cents per correctly identified error. There were 100 errors total across all of the, so there were a bunch of those in each task, right? So there are 3 different tasks, and each task contained a bunch of those little clips. Each task there were 100 errors possible, so you could have made, $10, and there was a $1 penalty for each day late. 3 groups, randomly assigned, evenly spaced, self-imposed, and no deadline. End of semester, all due at the end. Fine. Okay, here are the results. This is, the black is the evenly spaced, okay, so that's instructor imposed in some sense. This is the clear ones are self-imposed, and the hashed ones are end of semester, no deadlines. This is Nick, okay, and what do you get? Errors detected, it's monotonic, the error bars show you that it's all statistically significant. The instructor, father knows best in this situation, or, parent knows best, so it's good to have deadlines. These 2 things both say it's good to have deadlines. This one says it's even better to have someone smart set them for you. This is delays, right, so monotonic in the other direction, all statistically significant. Less delays if you have some kind of deadlines, even less if somebody else sets the deadlines for you, and this was earnings, also going in the expected direction. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say expected. The hypothesis I'm guessing that they went into this with was that set your own deadlines was going to serve that people better than don't set any deadline, than not having the option, right? Because there's some people in each group who are like Jack, who are present biased and sophisticated and know that they want this commitment device, and in the third group, they basically are being denied the commitment device, right? In the second group, they're being offered a voluntary commitment device, and the hypothesis would be, if you're beta delta sophisticated, that's going to be better for you, okay? And it is. For me, from the standpoint of public policy, the interesting additional result is that just forcing you to do things at sort of the naturally obvious times, a third, is even better, and it's substantially better for you and for me, right? I got the work done better, I got the work done on a more timely basis, and you got paid more. Okay, so this is productivity enhancing. So demand for commitment devices, yes, commitment devices are manifestly beneficial in important real stakes ways, and I could have paternalistically done a better job by just imposing deadlines on you. Okay, this isn't supposed to be here. It's fine. This is results from experiment 1. This is results from experiment 2, so that's just to remind you of what we just saw. And here's some additional results from a second paper. They're not reported in the first paper. Subjects who did not impose deadlines did worse than those who did. We know that. So complete naivety. Within the group that had the option to set deadlines. Okay, within the group that had the option to set deadlines, those who did not impose deadlines did worse than those who did. Now, let's suppose that the group of people that this represents, who had the opportunity to impose deadlines but didn't, consists of a mix of Jack and Nick, of people like Jack and people like Nick. What this result suggests is that a good chunk of them were Jack. Right? A good chunk of them. Sorry. No, they're not a mix of Jack and Nick. They're a mix of the 2 kinds of people that Nick might be. So you might be genuinely time consistent, and you might be fully naive beta discounter, right? What these results say is that at least a good chunk of them appear to have been naive because they made a choice that was bad for themselves. It's hard to believe that people time consistently chose a set of deadlines that would make them worse off. So that suggests that there were naives in here, and it also says that these naive people caused themselves maximum harm, right? They set the worst deadlines possible, which is no deadlines. Okay. Subjects who set